Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're putting on our Silicon Valley tech analyst hats to critically evaluate this massive, recent wave of AI rollouts from the major tech companies. We are seeing an absolute seismic shift right now. And as an analyst, the job isn't just to gawk at the shiny new features, but to evaluate the actual long-term market utility of these tools. How are they really changing the consumer experience? Where are the true friction points? Well, let's get right to it.
Okay, let's dive into this. CNET editor-at-large Scott Stein perfectly encapsulates the absolute core problem the consumer market is facing today. As tech platforms deploy more and more generative tools, the line between reality and synthetic creation is blurring at an unprecedented rate. And let's be clear, this isn't some far-off sci-fi future problem. It's a present-day user experience crisis. And literally every major platform is currently scrambling to solve it. So, here is our roadmap for today's market briefing. We'll start with the state of consumer AI, then look at the utility of YouTube's labels, examine Spotify's AI content dilemma, pivot over to camera headphones as the next interaction, and finally wrap up with the future tech landscape. Section 1. The state of consumer AI. It's so incredibly easy to get caught up in the pure technical horsepower of these new models. But as analysts, we have to move past the simple what to really evaluate the so what. As tech giants just rush to deploy these tools into the wild, the ultimate utility test is how gracefully they actually handle the user experience. Are they creating a seamless, magical integration, or are they introducing massive friction and disrupting the market? Section 2. Utility of YouTube's labels. YouTube is currently rolling out a massive initiative to identify meaningfully altered content, and looking at how they execute this user experience is fascinating. It's actually completely different depending on the format. For long-form videos, the AI disclosure label sits prominently right below the video player. But for YouTube Shorts, the label is an overlay sitting directly on the video itself. This shows a very distinct difference in execution based on how quickly users are scrolling through short-form versus long-form content. Now, what's really interesting about this is we have to stop and ask, where is the nuance? When you evaluate the long-term utility of these labels, it reveals a major hurdle. A binary stamp, labeling something simply as AI or not AI, really struggles to survive the complex, messy reality of modern content creation. Just as Scott Stein pointed out, it acts like a giant rubber stamp, but it completely lacks the nuance to tell the viewer which specific parts of the video have actually been altered. Just think about the varying levels of integration we're dealing with here. Is a video completely AI generated from scratch? Was it just edited with AI tools to make the creator's workflow a bit faster? Or was it only partially altered? Companies like Google are building these absolutely incredible tools to speed up our work, but in doing so, they completely blur the lines. There's a very valid concern regarding adoption friction here. If the labels can't distinguish between a minor helpful AI edit and a completely synthetic fake, it's probably going to confuse consumers way more than it actually helps them. Section 3. Spotify's AI content dilemma. Shifting from video platforms over to the audio ecosystem, Spotify is rolling out personal AI podcasts to its premium subscribers. To properly contextualize this move, we need to look at existing market equivalents, things like Google Notebook LM, which can take your written content and generate remarkably realistic podcast discussions out of it. We're also seeing similar podcast-type discussion features popping up on Alexa Plus. The whole goal of these tools is to give you a brief, combined audio summary of the exact information you want to consume. So the crucial point here is weighing the utility of these super convenient AI summaries against the massive risk they pose to the broader ecosystem. On one hand, does this technology amplify original voices by helping users discover new content? Or does it just suck up all that information and essentially replace the original creators? Think about it. If you're a podcaster hustling to make money and get your voice heard, these AI-generated summaries directly compete with your livelihood. Could Spotify's bold move end up cannibalizing the very creators who supply the platform's actual value? This dynamic is incredibly similar to what we're currently seeing with AI and search engines. When an AI provides a perfect, neatly packaged summary of a topic, the user essentially has zero incentive to click through to the original source. So how will users actually discover that original article or that original podcast? How do the creators get that crucial clickback? If the AI simply replaces the information entirely, the original creators lose out big time, which is a massive long-term utility concern for the health of the modern web. Section 4. Camera headphones. Next interaction. Transitioning away from software platforms and diving right into the hardware pipeline,
our actual, physical interactions with AI might be about to fundamentally change. An early hint from an FC filing points to some very mysterious new over-ear headphones coming from either Apple or Beats. And since these brands essentially operate under one shared corporate roof, hardware analysts are watching this space like hawks to see exactly what innovations are coming next.
This actually fits perfectly into a much larger trend for wearable form factors. Apple is already expected to release camera-enabled AirPods this fall, which will feature built-in AI functionality. We are witnessing a massive, industry-wide push to integrate AI directly into the wearables we already use every single day.
But hold on, we really have to stop and ask, why cameras on headphones? I want you to seriously ponder this bizarre hardware choice from a utility standpoint. What exactly is that visual AI assistance actually for? If you suddenly have a camera right there on your earbuds or your over-ear headphones, how does that fundamentally change how you interact with the world around you?
And this brilliantly illustrates the competitive pivot happening in Silicon Valley right now. Just compare these two hardware interaction models. A lot of companies are aggressively pursuing visual AI via smart glasses. But let's be honest, smart glasses come with a ton of social friction. People don't always want to wear them, and people definitely feel uncomfortable being around someone wearing them. Delivering visual AI via headphones, though, that might be a strategic, stealthy way to achieve constant AI assistance without all that social awkwardness. It's a fascinating workaround.
And hey, this isn't just wild speculation. We actually saw a very real precedent for this at CES this past January. Razer and Qualcomm showcased a prototype concept of over-ear headphones equipped with cameras. So the hardware pipeline is already actively experimenting with and validating this exact interaction model.
Section 5. The future tech landscape.
Let's move to see how all this builds together. Tying these software labels, content curation dilemmas, and hardware pivots into one cohesive picture, we see an industry moving incredibly fast, but struggling hard with consumer friction. As AI automatically labels, summarizes, and just visually generates the modern web, how in the world will we ever find the original creators? The long-term utility of the web absolutely relies on humans. So I'll leave you with this. If AI is doing all the talking, who ensures the humans actually get the click back?